you sometimes hear a piece by Schoenberg that you don't know and you think, wow, it's unbelievable. How come it's not played more? Second Viennese School is a kind of name for the three composers. Arnold Schoenberg, who was the kind of the older person and in a sense the instigator and the teacher, and Alban Berg and Anton Webern. All three composers were very different. Schoenberg was really a pioneering figure already in the first decade of the 20th century, pushing the boundaries of what can be done with orchestras and pushing the boundaries of what can be done with harmony, in a sense. The person that was much less known at first, but now has become this kind of huge figure for new music, is Anton Webern, who's really the most experimental out of the three. He distilled music, you know, instead of writing a huge 75-minute symphony like Mahler, he wrote a piece for 10 minutes. Opus 6, for example, which is the 6 orchestral pieces for orchestra. It's such an amazing piece, and it's so short. The 6 pieces, each one is not more than a minute and a half sometimes. And so Webern really went in a completely different direction than Schoenberg. Schoenberg actually wanted to be much more of a, like Brahms, kind of continuing the German tradition and developing the new next German tradition in a sense. And Webern was much more esoteric than that and much more unique. I'm very much looking forward to these 2 days. It's an opportunity for me as a performer, but also for the listener, I hope, to really explore the world that these composers give. I mean, we also do pieces from the early periods of the composers, so really tonal period. Sommerwind by Webern is a very early piece. And then you have the very much later pieces like the Schoenberg Violin Concerto. So it's a span of almost 40 years, I think. Many pieces by Schoenberg are very classical. The Schoenberg Violin Concerto, it's a very classical piece with a classical structure, with also references to, you know, to Baroque music, to Mozart, to Brahms, to other things. And so, and Berg also, Berg Chamber Concerto, it's in many ways quite a classical piece. So I think there's a very interesting mixture in all three of those composers of modernity and antiquity, because it's really accessible, that word that everybody likes to use in this country now, and all that stuff. It's totally approachable. So it totally communicates very clearly to the listener, whatever it is, you know. Well, Pierrot is really a classic piece, of course, more than 100 years old now, almost 100 years old, I think. And for me, it's such a joy to listen to it, because it's a mixture of so many styles, popular styles. It's a mix of low and high, like the New York scene was in the 80s, the Zone and things like that. It's very similar in the concept of mixing, you know, popular songs, Chopin, burlesque music, music from the street, and surrealist texts, and very hard, complicated writing for the instruments, and very direct, short movements. So all of that makes it like a pop, like a pop piece, like an experimental pop piece, you know, because it's actually like a record. It's 21 songs, small songs that are divided into 3 parts. So it's like an LP, you know, it's like an album. And there are very few pieces that are that strong for voice and ensemble. I mean, it's basically that piece. And of course, everybody's tried to copy this piece since it's been written. I mean, not to copy maybe, but to write for the same kind of setup, singer and a small ensemble. Very hard to do. And the smart thing with this piece is that he's done many times where it's just one instrument with just piano and voice, or 2 instruments with voice. So it's not all the time tutti, it's only 5 players, but it's all the time changing. And it's like he's using what he has in such an inspiring way. It's really amazing.